All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another installment of Your Money Matters Financial Empowerment Show, where we seek to move the culture forward with all things money and finance. We continue to put on meaningful programming to help you to along your financial journey, whether you're just starting or whether you're already on the road. But our communities struggle due to a lack of adequate, proper financial education. So we do a show every week, hoping to give out resources and information, news you can use so that you could take better control of your finances. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are on a journey to get better. So, this particular week, we wanted to really jump on some things that were trending, right? All last week, we were on social media and we were watching something take place in the state of Alabama that you know almost, in my opinion, broke the internet. And we watched a lot of unity, a lot of solidarity with people that look like you and I. And I wanted to kind of discuss that with some like-minded people, and also 50 years of hip hop, its influences as it pertains to the financial security and strategies in the African American community. Is hip hop helping or hurting when it comes to some of the financial challenges and things that we go through? So, this show today is called From Trending to Triumph. How can we move the needle forward and capitalize on some of the momentum that's building, that's showing that unity is much stronger than division? So, I invited some people that I know who are would be great panelists to have meaningful conversation, probably are already talking about this in their everyday lives because they're watching things unfold. And so social media has been a great aid. It continues to be a great aid for me to find meaningful guests to be on my podcast. So I'm going to invite all of our panelists on. That's going to spend the next few minutes just talking about these trending topics. So first, I'm going to call up Dr. Akua. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, well, welcome to Your Money Matters Financial Empowerment Show. I'm overjoyed to have you here. Can you
Thank
just,
you.
yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dr. Akua from Oaktown. I'm an empowerment speaker, coach, and life strategist. I help women, specifically Black women, intentionally craft a life of wellness so we can show up healthily and as our authentic selves. I believe super strongly that Black people have been holding it down for so long, but we have to start implementing wellness into our lives because all that resiliency is actually creating more harm. So
Right.
that's that's me.
Right. A lot. The resilience often turns into being desensitized to things that we shouldn't be. So,
Yeah, and it
absolutely.
adds to stress.
Yes, indeed. So, I know you're out in the beautiful state of California. Am I correct?
Yes, indeed.
I bet it's nicer over there than it is where we are. We're in Philly. It's a little humid around these parts. um, but tell us one fun fact about you. What might people want to know?
Fun fact about me. Well, the first thing that came to mind, I don't know why, but I'm brutal at Pictionary. Don't come for me. Like if we play in Pictionary, it's over unless you're on my team. These are just facts. So
Come
you
on
asked for one.
now. She's confident in her ability. She said, "Don't come for her with Pictionary. You're gonna leave limping." I heard
You will.
that.
It's facts.
Well, thank you for holding it down in the female category. Today, you and I are the only females. Believe it or not, most of my guests are females. So to have you on holding it down with me, representing the ladies, is a big deal. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
All right.
Determinedlyready.com.
What is it again?
Determinedlyready.com. I have a 3-day wellness challenge coming up.
I love it. And hopefully we'll have a little time for you to talk more about that at the end, but we'll see how this goes. So next person I'm going to bring into the panel discussion is Mr. DC Church. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right. Well, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us
Thank
on the
you.
show. You come highly recommended.
No, thank you for
Um,
having me.
Yes, indeed. One of my business friends said this is the person that you need to have on here today. So just tell the viewers a little bit about you, and you can certainly give a fun fact as well.
I mean, well, my name is DC Church. I'm just the average person. No lie. I just go to work. I work at Live Casino and Hotel in South Philadelphia. Been there for almost 3 years. I'm a banquet houseman. I work up in the event center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm an aspiring music artist and poet, I
Okay,
guess.
those
Like
are the things
I've
I
done
wanted to hear
I'm
right
like I'm
here.
like I've done poetry in my past, but I've put more of it towards music these days.
Fantastic. Well,
And a fun fact, I guess, is I'm I'm I I'm really good at Mortal Kombat and Need for Speed games, like my whole life,
Mortal
and
Kombat. It's one of
like
my favorite games.
I get down PlayStation over everything, but I really get down to Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha. Okay, who doesn't
And
love a
I play Pokemon Go also a lot. I'm heavy into
Okay, so
Pokemon.
we got a gamer on the show. Okay. Well, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us on the panel today. All right. The next
Thank you very
gentleman,
much.
absolutely. The next gentleman that I'm going to bring up is no stranger to the viewership. He's no stranger to the radio station because he owns it. So I'm going to bring up a good friend and colleague of mine, Mr. JP Bryce, the CEO of CMPRadio.net, and I knew he was going to have some fire that he was going to contribute to this conversation today. So I was like, "You got me. You going to jump on for me?" And he always agrees. So I can't welcome you to the show, but happy to have you on.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure to be on here. I love any opportunity I get to share any information with the people. So
Absolutely.
I am no longer the CEO of CMPRadio.net. That's Leslie.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
thought y'all were co-CEOs, but
There's no
okay.
such thing as a co-CEO, right?
Of
So
course there is.
no, there is not, right? No, no. If you try, that's where all the static comes from. If we're
Maybe.
co-CEOs, right?
I can certainly understand.
Absolutely.
Founder, is that safe to say?
That's about it. That's
Okay.
founder and engineer, right?
Fantastic. Tell us a little bit about you. For the people who are in the tri-state area, a lot of us already know who you are, but just tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Jean Pierre Bryce. I am currently the communities program manager for PA Humanities. I am a father. I am a community optimist. I see the best parts about our community, and I try to expose them rather than to talk about the negativity that we always hear on the lamestream media. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that is a quote from a dear friend of mine, uh, and I'm here. I'm here to serve. I'm here to be not to be used, but I'm here to do what is needed, right? Whatever is needed.
I love it. Standing in the gaps for the culture.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Well, thank you for being on. The last person that I'm going to bring up, I have known his entire life. We happen to probably be more like siblings than the fact that he is my nephew. But we're very close in age. So he has a podcast where he shares, similar topics and talks about the goings ons in our community. So I found him to be a perfect show guest. Mr. Michael Regan, can you hear me?
Howdy, babe.
Howdy.
Um,
Said that I know
hello
we
everyone.
were
Yeah.
Persona.
I am I'm as you heard, I'm her nephew slash like little brother. I am the founder and the host of the Unapologetic Mic Check. Basically, it's literally what it is. It's you get on there, whatever the topic is, there's no hold bars. Unapologetic. That's literally what it is. So whatever we're talking about on there, you don't have to censor yourself. Like it is what it is. You want to talk about what happened at the store, somebody got blasted, and you got a strong opinion about it, go ahead, fire away. As long as I don't do the I don't do anti-gay stuff, anti-race stuff. I don't do that type of stuff.
Good.
I mean, you'll run into some problems if you do that with me. But everything else, we kosher with. Interesting fact about me, just to touch on the Pictionary thing. I am my wife's family calls me Wiki for short. And that's because I call myself a human Rolodex, useless information, which means if we play Quizzo at a restaurant, we all eating for free because we snatching that dub. Like, no
Highly
ifs, ands, or
competitive.
buts. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm also a musical artist. I play the drums, the guitar. I've been rapping since I was 13 years old. So I'm just preparing to get a project together that I'm gonna be releasing next year. But yeah, and I'm an avid anime watcher.
Love it. All right. Well, we are happy to have you on here. Like to know the fun facts. He's definitely competitive. But when you should have seen Dr. Akua's face when you
I saw her.
married. She was like, "Uh oh, wait a minute." Um, so that's nice. The panel definitely has a good chemistry, and I think we're gonna have a good time. So let's jump right into it. And I guess I can introduce myself. I'm Lisa Thornton, your host and community activist, so to speak. Always trying to find ways to empower our people. It's a fun challenge, but absolutely necessary as we are all starting to catch on and move in the direction of cohesiveness. I hope that's just the goal of mine. So I am happy to be sharing with you all today. So let's jump right into it, right? I'm gonna start talking about 50 years of hip hop first, right? Hip hop started in the Bronx. However, it has become a world phenomenon as it pertains to music and culture, whether it's from style of dress to trends and things of that nature. Hip hop, something that they said would not last, has evolved so much over time. And there are some key things that we see when it comes to the hip hop community. Some of it is positive. Some of it can be sometimes in a negative light, and sometimes, in my opinion, sets the culture backwards in a lot of ways. So I wanted to kind of pick everybody's brain, and we'll talk probably 2 minutes a piece, just so that everybody can get their perspective in. But talk about first and foremost how you feel the influence of hip hop is in our communities, and then we'll dive a little deeper. Anybody can go.
Okay. I was gonna say, you want us to jump in or
Yeah,
um
I want you
I don't know how this is gonna work
just
out.
don't run over each other. That's all.
yeah. One thing that I like to name is that my perspective is about the impact of hip hop because I don't like blame it on hip hop. When I grew up, I was kind of growing up in the era where NWA was hot on the scene, and there was a lot of criticism about like the influence of rap and of hip hop. And I'm like, no, this is an avenue. Hip hop started as an avenue for us to express what we were going through in our communities and what we were seeing day to day. And as it evolved positively and negatively, but only because that's what we were seeing in our communities. And I think that's, I wouldn't necessarily say that hip hop is impacting us in that way. I would just say that it's an outpouring of the other stuff, systemic stuff that's impacting us. So it's like you read somebody's diary. It just had a nice beat to it and it made you move, right?
Right.
The urban storytelling is what they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where
Absolutely.
you're sharing
Absolutely.
your story, you're sharing your struggles. So I love that perspective. Like I said, there's so much positivity that came from it. I'll let anybody else go next.
Well, it's like she said, a lot of things came from hip hop, and it started out as just storytelling and telling people our struggles as a community, as a race, as a whole. Like we had to what we had to go through every day just to make a dollar or feed our families. Like now hip hop has become like it became a trend to tell somebody, "Oh, I'm a drug dealer," or and now it's telling everybody, "Cool, sex work is okay too." No, no, it's not. When the hip hop was, we did this like original hustlers like Ice T, E40, Master P. They did this to feed their families. Like E40 started out in the Bay Area selling tapes out the trunk of his car. He gave the blueprint to independent hustlers everywhere.
Right.
He made Master P get on the level. Master P, who hasn't heard of Rap Snacks by now? Who has not heard of Rap Snacks by now? Literally in the black community,
Sure.
everybody knows Rap Snacks. It's a thing. People give back to the community, and that's a beautiful thing.
So
And
let me
but
ask
not
you,
not everybody's on it.
when do you think it changed from becoming um, something that people shared as to how they were feeding their families to when did it become something that we're glorifying in music and uh, having a group of people to follow in those footsteps? When did it change? And anybody can do that.
I'm gonna honestly say, in my perspective, like I'm only 34 years old, so I can only speak for so much in the hip hop. But I my perspective is like I feel like the rap game changed roughly in 2000. It started slowly changing in 2000. We had, I mean, yeah, we had gangster rappers and all that. We had Easy E, Ice Cube, NWA. We had Biggie, Tupac. We had all real gangster rappers. But now we have murderers that are rappers, like that. We have world famous murderers that drop albums on a regular basis. Like
So you think in the
it,
early 2000s?
yeah, definitely. Like anything in my opinion, anything past 2008, it became shot out. It became real shot out.
Got you.
Everybody just telling everybody, yeah, I murdered this, that, and the guy. I ran off on the plug. I beat the case. Caught a
All
body.
of
Like
that
no,
start running their
like
mouth.
just caught a body about a week ago. Like what?
Right.
Are
It's
we
it's
are we really
different.
glorifying murder? That's not okay.
Absolutely.
So
It's
I'm
not
not going to
okay.
disagree. I'm not going to disagree with you, but I feel like hip hop has never really changed, right? We have always talked about what's going on in the hood. I remember a time when I was listening to Master P, Bout It. You feel me? Like that
Right.
video, that
You're right.
movie that he put out at that time, that was about the game. That was about how he lived in New Orleans and how people were killed and how people, made money and did different things. We're always going to talk about what we know about. We can't talk about anything
You're
else,
right.
right? You want a rapper to get up there and say, "Oh, everything's good and sweet over here, and I love everybody." That's not the case for us.
Sure.
But I think what we end up doing is using them as a scapegoat to allow the community to continue to destroy itself. See,
Mm.
once someone has power, and we can say we are oppressed people, so we don't really know what power is. But once someone has power over you, meaning they can give you 150, they give you $2 million to make an album and say, all right, I don't want to hear nothing about you being happy. I want to hear about all the murder and all the bad things in your life, and we're gonna make everybody rap this way. What we fail to realize is that with hip hop, we have the keys to the car, right? We can rap about whatever we want to rap about. It's the people that own these record labels that want you just talking about shoot, kill, oh, rob, steal, oh yeah, do that. Yeah, now look at these girls over here. Let's degrade black women and put them down. But we really don't feel that way. We like the beat. I say it all the time. That 808 drum, you can take it all the way back to Africa with the 808. You know what I'm saying? The beat moves us. The rapper don't have to. If he can rap to the beat, it's a fire song.
And some of them don't even be rapping well.
Right, he could be talking about
really they don't.
Give my dog a bone. Then I sold some coke on the corner. I'm alone, and everybody like, yo, you heard that bar? Like, it's
listen. At this point, you're definitely telling the truth. I know y'all heard that song Pound Town.
Right. And so because it's the beat, and because we are looking for someone to say it's okay for us to live the way we live, the way we struggle, the way we scrap, the way we fight. We're looking for people to say it's okay. So when somebody goes up and they rap about it, you're like, damn, yeah, listen, Tupac, Biggie, when they were beefing, bro, I said, this is not going to end well. You feel me? Like, because you got people on either side that might have a real beef with somebody from the East Coast and the West Coast. So you're like, come on, man, let's bring it together. But I think hip hop has created so many different avenues for people to excel their life. I think we've made millionaires inside of hip hop, both rapping, graffiti art, clothing, all of these things that we push in hip hop helps us to elevate. But
technology.
If we don't grab control of it, if someone else controls it, it will continue to poison us. Where we're like, oh no, that's not really happening. Why are you rapping about that? We look at that Young Thug case. You feel me? Like his homie supposedly snitched on him, right? But it's like, how his homie snitched on him, then come home and drop an album.
Gonna drop that album.
You feel me? Like, so I believe that hip hop is not as bad as we make it. We are the complete controllers of our destiny. And if we don't take control of that, we don't drive that car, somebody else will always crash it and hop out and run.
Right.
I love it. That perspective right there. That was some of the things that, I definitely wanted to get to. Because before, when hip hop first started, the business savviness of the artist wasn't as developed as it is now, so to speak. And now we do get to watch people not just do music, but they found another way to create and have income to continue to come, whether they're, if they're producing or if they're, discovering new talent. We're seeing more and more businessmen and women in hip hop. So you definitely touched on that, JP, where they have an opportunity to really create wealth, where they're, able to make out the fine print and not be taken advantage of by these record companies who, like P said, really do control the narrative of what they want our people to hear. I watched a gentleman, he was doing a podcast interview, and he was saying that no other community tells its people to do some of the things that these rappers are doing. And yes, they are getting the blame when they're really just trying to make it out, and this is what I'm being told that I need to do in order to make it out, and I don't like it, and I might try to do some good for my community. I don't like it, but this is going to really benefit my family. So we watch businessmen and women come out of that. Mike, I'll ask your perspective, because I think you're the only one that did not go, but what's your take?
So, for years, I've always looked at it like this. I've always said that hip hop has a subgenres. You have hip hop, then you have your rap, then you have your pop rap, you got your boom bap, you got your backpack rap.
Not the backpack.
Oh yeah, backpack rapper. But and rap is the subgenre that's dominating right now, and that's where most of the money is being funneled into. And with rap being on the forefront, if you got a gimmick, it's going to sell like hotcakes. And what these people in these what these people see with these record companies, like, oh snap, yeah, this young boy don't got no money, he hurting, and he's catchy. And because social media is the way it is, if your social media presence is popping, and everybody's vibing to your music, and you spitting that nonsense, it don't matter if you spitting nonsense, all they seeing is dollar signs. And since it's the economy is the way it is, and our people are hurting, trying to make money any way they can, you see this constant influx of all these new rappers coming out of nowhere, and you look up their net worth, and they're worth a couple million, and they just came out 6 months ago, which means they're getting tossed this bread, and they're just saying whatever they were saying before they got signed. Why? Because it's making these record labels this money. And the influence that it has had is astronomical. For me, I think rap changed when social media became huge. So we're talking, about 2008 is when it started to change. And you started seeing people, everybody wanting to rap now, everybody signing this person. And then you saw all these little cliques. Like, has anybody noticed that there's like a big influx of all these rap groups now, like these big rap groups on these labels? Like you said, with YSL, when Young Thug went down, everybody went down. So now all these big groups are, all these record labels got all these people pushing all this music, and some of them will tell you, I'm not a role model. I'm not a role model. But the fact of the matter is, you're a subculture of hip hop. And that's what it is. Hip hop is role models, because when they were spitting back then, they were out. When they weren't on the mic, they were in the community. They were in the community centers. They were having barbecues. They were giving clothes and book bags to kids. And I applaud Meek Mill, because every year without fail, Meek Mill is doing something in the community. He's giving out food for Thanksgiving. He's giving stuff for kids in school. He's doing Christmas stuff, all types of things. Now, that's not to say, he may be turning a blind eye to certain things, but I just feel like it has an influence, it has an impact and influence, and it helps and it hurts at the same time, because it's all about
doing something.
Yeah, it's what you persist. It's what you want. They make it so broad. Whatever you get out of it is what you take from it. Now, you have people that branch off, that take a positive note from all of this, and they try to do, the independent thing. They try to stay away from the major record labels, because, like myself, I am not a toy, and I will not be played with. There's so many different artists out there, like my wife's favorite rapper, Sa-Rock MC. She's from DC. She probably one of the hardest rappers out, period, male or female, independent. Because they have full control over what they want to do, and they're making money just fine. So, and then you got the other point of view, like, oh man, money this, money that. J. Cole has been trying to spit game for it for years. He's been trying to tell young boys for years, I'm telling you, never quit touring. Because that's how we eat up in this rap game.
That's how we get money.
If you not touring, it don't matter what your gimmick is, you not gonna last for long, and it's happening. So I just feel like, it changed because social media and people were just glorifying the rap aspect and not the community. They left out the community part. You mean hip hop, once rap came, it was all about the bread, the community. That was it. It didn't matter about the community, because now ain't nobody performing at community centers. They go into venues now. Oh yeah, I'm trying to get the TLA, or I'm trying to get the Rolling Loud. They don't want to do nothing in their community, not realizing that you may touch somebody in your community that got the bread to push you where you need to go. So the perception on it all has changed, and it's just all over the place now.
And that's why I love La Russell out in Vallejo, right? California, man.
I like him too.
He's in the back of his house. You know what I mean? He's selling out his backyard. You understand what I'm saying? Like, so
Right.
to be an independent rapper and understand that this can bring you money, you don't necessarily need to sign your soul over to anyone for no $100 million or $1 million. Where you can make good money doing what you do. You just gotta have, I guess, you just gotta have a brain to understand. Like, this is where the money is. So if I do
Right.
the concert,
You
if I
gotta
do
have
the
that
concert
drive.
here, and I'm only bringing in 300-400 people, 500 people, eventually you'll grow to a point where you're bringing in 1,000 and you can go out and rent a bigger venue. But you got to put
Right.
the work in first. You got to grind small first. You
See,
feel
I,
me? People are scared of that.
I
Right.
think that might be the point where some credit is due to our community, because the fact that you're out there, you know, anyway, like there's some credit. A lot of the stuff you're talking about, we don't have access to. You see little kids, like I work with kids, and they just want to be a rapper. And if they can put a rhyme together, then they know that they can bring a dime together. They see the rappers with the dollars and the rappers with the flow, and they're like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's like,
Mhm.
and then it's like you don't, there's a whole other business to it. And if we want to talk
Mhm.
about impacting wealth, the things that you all are talking about, it is the independent artist that's actually doing it. Because if you're not independent, it's not your art. Somebody is telling you. It's like if you had a paintbrush and somebody said, now go down, then you got to go down. Okay, go to the left, then you got to go to the left, because they are controlling your expression of art. And yes, the things they're talking about are representative of things that's in the community, but you don't get to talk about it the way you want to talk about it because somebody else is controlling. But in our communities, nobody's gaming our babies to say, okay, that's cute, you got to flow, that's nice, and you need to hold on to your masters. You need to, work the engineering board. You need to learn how to create,
That
like,
part.
what is, it's not just the lyrics. What about the beat? Who's doing, like, all of
Right.
what you're saying
Owning
is
it.
so
Mhm.
factual. And who's telling us that? Like, where all we see is this, or the little
Yeah.
money gun, or the,
Right.
and so
Mhm.
it's almost like, I'm not saying give us credit and let us ride. I'm just saying give us credit, and then, like, how do we get that out there so so
Yeah.
that everybody
Yeah.
knows it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Nipsey
That was
Hussle.
why this. I'm sorry.
I'm
That
sorry.
was why the show was so impactful for me, because I honestly believe that we can change the narrative and have some actual
Yeah.
solutions to come from this conversation. And you all, we have just sat here together. We've identified a problem, right? We've gone into great detail about a solution for it, and the part B's, part C's of how the industry can continue to make money for you if you're willing to put the work in and actually learn and live life on your own terms so that you can have the impact. It doesn't stop at I robbed and killed and sold drugs. It doesn't stop there. It's I robbed,
Yeah.
I might have done things, I might have sold drugs, whatever the case may be, but I turned my life around
Mhm.
and this is where I am now. And these are the things that I'm doing differently to impact my community. They want you to stop at the rob, killing, still.
Yes.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Right.
So not having the freedom of expression is a really, really big hindrance. I'm sorry, DC. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything. I was agreeing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point it out since we're talking about, owning your masters, being independent and community. Nipsey Hussle was big on that.
that's
Also,
good.
it's his birthday today.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Go
Yeah.
figure.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Armor.
Right. But Nipsey was huge on that, man. He owned all his masters. Like, it's impossible. And his beats were crazy. Do you know how hard it is to try and find a Nipsey Hussle instrumental on YouTube? You ain't gonna find it. Homeboy went to the grave owning his masters. His kids own his masters now.
Wow.
That's it.
What?
That's it. And it's
No,
just
same thing with Young Dolph
Young Dolph. Yeah. Yeah. It's like
and Mo 3. A
it's
couple of them actually. But
yeah,
like I
it's
said earlier, E40 paved the way for all independent artists.
Let me ask y'all though, was it, I thought Too Short was the one who innovated the selling the tapes out your truck. E40 was before Too Short?
Yeah,
oh yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I think
E40 was out here doing it
Too Short came
all
up
over Vallejo.
during West Coast rap, right? When it was big, and I think he was actually signed to a deal, right, when he first came out. But I don't think he really sold any. I don't know. I'm not
Nah,
even.
he was out here, like he was over
Right,
there on High
right,
Street and Foothill, over there by
right.
my high school, selling out his truck
And
tapes.
then
Like,
there you
oh,
go. Yeah.
Forgot
but
they in your
I mean,
backyard.
you
Right.
have to, if you are a hustler and you decide to go
Come
and
on.
be a rapper, you got to play the game the same way you played it when you were hustling, bro. I say
Exactly.
there are so
Right.
many CEOs and so many execs in the hustling game. They just don't know it. You know what I mean? I didn't realize who I was until I stopped. You know what I mean? Like that go get it, that grind, gotta get more. I can't stop, right? That pursuit of money. Well, for me, I don't pursue money anymore. I did, right? But that pursuit of your passion, you feel me? That I gotta get up, I gotta get this, I gotta do that, right? That once that hits you, bro, there's nothing else. There's nothing else like it. Because you understand how to make money, you understand how to grow, you understand how to motivate people. A true successful person is nothing if he's not motivating the people behind him.
Come
You know
on.
what I mean? So I need more successful people to line up with me so we can get this thing done, right? It's all about unity, bro. And I push that every day. Without unity, we can't do anything. We'll always be divided and we'll always be easy targets. You look at zebras, the same thing with zebras and the lions. When the zebras coming after them, as long as they stay together, they can get away. But as soon as they break off, he going right for the weak one.
Facts.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So that's how it works.
That is, you just said a whole mouthful. And again, you know, really being solutions focused. And I wanted to bring up Nipsey, Young Dolph, and maybe some others, as you all were saying. You know, as far as owning the masters to their music and making sure that is the wealth that they pass. Because as we're talking about money matters, those are some of the things that I wish could seep out more onto the culture. The things that these individuals were doing that were so positive with the Marathon Continues, and you know, just all of those things. They played a major role. Young Dolph and Nipsey Hussle also did something that is not discussed enough in our communities. They had really gigantic life insurance policies.
Yep.
You know, I find a way to work it in somehow.
And they kids own everything they did. The kids
Okay.
own all their masters, the
On
property
their
and
masters,
everything.
so you leave in wealth that way, right? If the whatever money's being, every time your music spins, you know, when I select music for Facebook, you know, just different things like, you know, making sure that these artists are getting their cut and things like that. But when it comes to leaving a legacy of wealth, we watched those two individuals. Young Dolph had bought, you know, real estate and things in his hometown to make sure that
Bought his kids 100 properties.
to make sure that his children's children, right? We always ask, like, what's your great-great-grandfather's name? And you'd be like, I don't even know. But if he left you something, I bet you know his name then, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
That's the thing, right? Those are some of the examples that I would love to see seep out into the community, because there's people that really do follow and really do listen and say, well, Dad, he did it like this. I could do it like this. Talk about the impact of what our communities could be if we pass that kind of wealth. Anybody can go.
Unstoppable.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
That's
we
the
pass
word
that
for
kind
it.
of wealth back
That's the
to our
word.
children, unstoppable. I mean, there's no other word but that. Powerful. That's what we're missing, right? We're missing the key ingredient in being successful is passing money back, creating generational wealth. You know what I mean? It'll be here well after you're gone, right? So
Creating something for us.
right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It's the wealth financially and also the wealth knowledge wise.
Knowledge.
Like I can't
Yeah.
just leave you
Yeah.
my money and these properties. I got to make sure that there's somebody and something to help you understand, well,
I
what do I
need you
do
to
with it?
know how to maintain it.
That part.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to my sorry. I was about to say shout out to my father-in-law. He instilled something in his daughter, which he instilled in me, something called portable wealth. And that's, you know, from these menial jobs that you work, you pick up so many different skills that your resume, when these skills and these sub points on your resume are showing, okay, I've done this, I've done that, they intersect in these other jobs. And your resume, you may start out entry level, but your resume reads something that sticks out to somebody upstairs, in your work ethic in the place you're in now. Next thing you know, you're now going from, oh, well, you know, I just do a little here, a little there. The next thing you know, you sitting in a room with the CEOs and all types of other people, and now your name's being thrown around, and that's that portable wealth. And you know, you know, at the school I'm at where I teach, I'm teaching them that portable wealth, generational wealth, breaking generational curses.
Oh, that part.
Breaking generational curses. You can't have generational wealth if you don't acknowledge that you got generational curses.
True.
And you know what I mean? Toxic ways of thinking hinder generational wealth and strengthen generational curses. And I feel like just being out there, and you know, even though the young ones are glory, you know, they're clinging on to all the negativity and whatever's on the internet and social media, is staying astute and steadfast and being absolute on what you stand for and what you're about. That's going to, you know, they're going to get tired of hearing it. But the thing is, what registered to me is things that my grandmother, my aunt, my mom have said to me has started to resonate with me by the time I was a teenager. So by the time I was at that age where I could have gone astray and been, you mean, one of them young bulls out there doing nonsense, my mindset had already changed before it even became something else. So it transitioned into me becoming an adult and maybe breaking some generational curses and instilling generational wealth. Like I, you know, was talking to my daughter about how an acre of land in rural Pennsylvania is like $3,200. For some people, that's part of your income tax. They're like, oh, I need an independent business. Yo, what happens if your independent business fails? Now, if you own the land and you build the business, guess what? The business may fail, but it's still on the land that you own, which means you can pick it up because that land is yours. So it's just, you know, just trying to tell people like, listen, I know you want your business and it's cool to start that, but look into trying to own land. You know, we talk about wanting to own masters. Look, I'm trying, you know, I've talked to the family about it. Yo, we need to buy land. We pull our money together and buy land. Next thing you know, we can own a section of Philadelphia. I just saw that somewhere in Philadelphia, there's a whole block that's selling for like $35,000. A whole block. You know, city blocks ain't little. This ain't the county.
They not.
City block, you're gonna be winded if you walk a city block. $35,000 for a city block, and they not telling y'all that? Crazy.
Yeah.
So
They don't want us to know.
There's a perceived mindset of poverty, right? There's, you know, where they think we're all in a daze and a haze, and we're caught up in our situations, right? So, you know, it's assumed that a lot of us have a poverty mindset, right? So we're not coming together. You might hear the whole crabs in a barrel thing, you know, where we're not positioning ourselves to create wealth for our communities, you know, and that kind of really brings me into my last portion of the show. Everybody's input has been absolutely phenomenal, but it segues into the last part of the show, where we watched a gentleman get jumped by a group of people, which later led to people jumping in to help this individual. It became a big melee. You know, it was not exactly the most fun thing to watch, because I'm not a person that condones violence, but I watched social media explode. I watched people display more unity and solidarity for what took place than I've really seen in a very, very long time, right? And I wanted to pick all of your brains a little bit to come up with yet again solutions that might catch on or pose, you know, questions within others, food for thought, whatever you want to call it. How do we keep that momentum going with the unity and solidarity to make improvements in our communities? You know, it doesn't stop with, you know, you showed them, or, you know, they got back, they did, you know, it was for the ancestors, all of the stuff that you're hearing. How do we take that unity and use the momentum of it to improve economically?
There was I think they said there was the dude that jumped in the water was a 16-year-old
Kid.
16-year-old
Yeah,
boy.
16-year-old kid.
That right there would be right there, right where I started. Not the dude hitting people with the chair. You mean not the catchy song that absolutely slaps, by the way.
It definitely does, right? Put my hat in the air. Yeah.
But
I've heard that song came out right after, too.
memory, bro. But like that would be my starting point. Like I would put that on the smart board in my classroom. Like, yo, y'all see cuz jumping in the water? He's 16.
Right.
I would have been like, okay, so now what you mean? And because I wear many hats, PR is one of them. I'd be like, all right, yo, see, I don't care about everything else. Look at the cat that jumped in the water. They did a GoFundMe to replace his boots.
Right.
Cuz ended up getting like quadruple that.
So much money.
Right.
Yeah, so it was like, all right, this is where we build right here. If this is y'all want to talk about unity, he was all about it. So if we talking unity, all right, kids, listen. They came together for the culture, but it wasn't even just the culture thing. It was just seeing that something wasn't black and white. It was right. It was wrong and right.
Right.
And
Right.
if you're talking about something right, progression is something that we need to build on. This was a perfect platform. And I was like, people need to follow suit with that, not just by injustices, but moving forward. If we're going to follow suit with that, we need to be in unity with everything, not just when somebody's being mistreated. Oh, homeboy just opened his own business.
There it is. There it
Say
is.
less. Let's go
Right.
get it. Let's go ahead and
There it
support him real quick. And while we
Support black
support him,
business.
oh, you need help with a business? Yo, go ask my man right there how he got started. Oh, you need help? All right, cool. You want an LLC? That's cool, but let's go ahead and get you an S corp and a trust. Let's let the building blocks follow like that. So
Give people
all right,
the blueprint.
yeah, it's all cool that we saw all that happen, and I was like, they done messed up and showed the northern cousins what they doing down south, because you already know we gonna draw if we come together, and so, because somebody done did one of the elders wrong.
Oh, yeah, it's going down up here.
Yo, these young bulls up here, they going to get the switch. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's
Well,
gonna get
Which
ugly.
we don't
Switch the
want.
ladders.
We don't
We
want
getting
nobody
everything.
to switch. Like if we could avoid that part.
That's
Defense is one thing, right? Defending
I-
right and wrong, like you said, it's not a race thing. Defending right and wrong. If we could just leave the guns at home, right?
No, we can't leave. We can't leave the guns at home because they don't leave their guns at home.
I'm
That's-
sorry.
that's-
They don't leave
yeah.
their guns
They
at
have
home.
their guns
I'm
at
sorry.
home.
True.
I have a right to
I'm
defend
only-
myself.
I'm more so talking about in our own communities.
In our
I'm
own
talking about
community, they're in our community. We
Yeah.
don't vote. We don't
They're
vote
everywhere.
because we listen to the whispers that come into our community, bro. When they put that stuff in movies and it be joking, the little white man sitting over there in the corner and he dip out the store, that's real, man.
Yeah.
That's absolutely real because we don't necessarily feel the way we should about issues that should affect us or do affect us, right? We're not upset over the parents that aren't in the school making sure their kids are getting a good education. We're not upset at the parents that aren't at home teaching their kids how they should go to school when they go to school. You know what I mean? We get upset over the teacher saying something to the kid. No.
Mm-hmm.
If I do my job as a parent and as a community member, I care about every child that's around my son. It's like cutting the neighbor's grass. If your grass is growing, if I'm cutting my grass and your grass is growing, I got to cut your grass too. You know what I mean? Because if I don't cut your grass, something can jump out of your grass and grab my child.
Period.
You feel me?
Right.
So whatever comes around my child, I have to protect that. We don't really put that out there. So I say, if we teach children about guns and gun safety, because we don't do that. Everybody says guns are bad. Yes, guns are bad. But it's in the Constitution that we're allowed to carry guns. So guns are always going to be here, right? If we teach children how to carry guns, how to shoot guns, what a gun can do, how powerful a gun is, we don't have to worry about that hurt young man in the project that's mad because he can't afford a pair of sneakers that just got a gun that he found outside and he shoots it at somebody because he feels as though they hear his pain.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry
Nah,
about that anymore, right? When he
I,
sees the
I
gun, he like,
follow
oh,
you.
I ain't touching that. That's gonna put me in trouble. There's so many men that are locked up right now, young men that are locked up right now for using a gun or carrying a gun, and I go and see them, and they like, bro, like it was him or me. I said, no, actually, it wasn't him or you. It's all about you, right? And your family and your legacy. So if you're not concerned with that, then you'll shoot them. But if you're concerned with your legacy and you're concerned with what you're putting out there for your people to see or your people to have to take care of, you won't pick up the gun. But you know, nobody ever taught you that. They just gave you a gun and said, yo,
See,
go do it.
where
Right.
you're touching on something that's not typically a part of these conversations,
Yeah.
and it's something that I'm like super passionate about. The reason that there was such an outpouring after that video surfaced, the reason why people are out here shooting each other, because it comes from a place of hurt. We step up. You said we get mad at the teacher who did the thing, but we don't correct the
Right.
teacher who said the thing, but we don't correct the kid who did the thing, because
Absolutely.
we're always wanting to get our fair, our
Right.
justice.
Yeah.
We always want, and that's the place and that's the way that we kind of like let our voice sound out. I believe, along with the things that y'all are saying, I don't disagree with nothing y'all said. Along with those things, there has to be some opportunity for us to introduce wellness and healing and balance into our communities. How do we resolve a lot of that unresolved trauma? That stuff is in our DNA, y'all. So
Right.
before, when the little, oh, she's so cute, little baby, oh, he's so cute, little baby, with the brown eyes and them curly hair, is also trauma floating through that
Mm.
DNA. So how are we working along with educating them about safety with guns and how to use and how to, be safe, wise with money? How are we saying this is how you take care of yourself? When somebody pop off, how do you keep it's not just me or him? It's, you know what? It's all about me, and I'm about to leave this spot.
Right.
It
Mm-hmm.
don't feel right in here. Something is not,
Yeah.
I done heard something or seen something.
Nah.
I need to go. How do we start like letting that seep into our community so that our
Mm-hmm.
kids will have the equipment, the tools to take care of themselves here, as well as if it comes to it, whether
Yeah.
it's old school or whether,
Right.
whatever it
Right.
is.
Like,
How
yeah.
do we give
Nah.
that well-rounded perspective so that we can like
We have to
not just
talk about it.
thrive 100%
We have to talk about it. We have to
Yeah.
talk
and
about the
be about
traumas.
it too?
And it starts with the old heads. They got to talk about the traumas that they went through so the
Yeah.
kids
Yeah. Yeah.
right.
You gotta
That's
start
that's
kicking
why
knowledge to the youth.
that's why I
Tell
started
everybody what y'all went through. Give out the
absolutely.
story.
Absolutely.
At one point in time, there was always that one young man who would just find who you always called him hanging out with the old head. Why? Because he had a
That was
story to
me.
tell, and you just
Right.
wanted to hear it.
Right.
You just wanted to give him an ear to listen. He had a story. You wanted to hear it, probably because you were bored or something, and then you
Knowledge.
never knew. Knowledge passing on. The person could be 90 years old or something, and you just want to rap with you.
That's it.
One small lesson can go a long way. Like
Right.
we need to teach about all types of gun safety, generational wealth. Like I follow a couple YouTubers based on gun safety and generational wealth, like Lady Wick, Black Rambo, and Derek Grace. I'm like I love Derek Grace a lot because he teaches his children every day generational wealth, gun safety, how to use them. Uh, know who you are. Know that you are a king or a queen. You are not nobody's thug. You're not a bitch. Or you're not a
Right.
hoe. You're not none of
Right.
that. You are who you are. You will live in your skin. Your daily affirmations like I love myself. I love my skin. I love my hair. My melanin. Like yeah, you need your daily affirmations every
Yeah.
day.
We do
Every
that.
day, you
My
need to
wife.
give out that lesson to your kids. Like give out that lesson to your peers. Even like, don't nobody need to deal with all the negative stuff. If we come together, unity as a people. I haven't seen unity like that since Queen Latifah dropped the song.
Mm.
You don't
Like
gotta
That
be
was
And
wild.
Michael,
good.
I seen you was getting
right,
ready to say something, but just real quick, like you said it too. We got to say it in our peers too. You can't
right,
sit in my circle with me, and you
Mm.
not if we don't
Mm-hmm.
vibe, we
right.
can't hang. Like I'm
And
not gonna just sit here and
we
give you
not
a
trying to
pass,
better
you
each
on some
other,
BS.
build each other up. What are we hanging out for?
Right. Yeah. My wife and Tom, we tell our daughter like all the time that self-love. You
Yeah.
Mhm.
can't self-love. That's where it starts. Self-love. My daughter is so happy wearing her hair out and her little fro or her little space buns. Her little if she wants beads, I'm like, baby, it's beautiful to be black. And
Right.
she's in a predominantly white school
Right.
district.
Shout out to Jules TV for the daily affirmations.
Yeah, growing up in Ridley exactly what that's like. Being black and loving yourself and going to school with your white peers and racist cops and everything else. It's a battle, an uphill battle. But to speak to the gentleman in here, another way that we could do it starts with us.
Yes, it does.
It starts with us. Because
us five people on here, and I gotta throw that in there before you say anything. For the ones, it's a whole bunch of us on here that are willing to teach the youth the self-love, right? But a lot of the times, the ones that need to learn the self-love are missing the part of having love, period. And I had another guest on my show where he was saying, in order for us to even penetrate the mind of a young person who's in the streets, whose maybe parents work all the time and they're lacking some things, we have to do a better job. And I think that's something that has fallen by the wayside because older people, OGs, whatever you want to call it, are fearful of working with the youth because of, feeling that they're disrespectful, this, that, and the third. And a lot of the times they gotta know.
Yeah, the youth will put you on a t-shirt now. You can't even kick knowledge without being threatened.
Come on now, and that's a breakdown, right? Teaching a young man how to tie a tie, just different things that are really lacking, and we're intimidated, but my teenagers are these kids, so how to not just teach them to love themselves, but they got to see that we love them and we care about them. Sometimes I'll ask them, I'll talk to a group of teens, and I know they probably think I'm crazy. I'll be like, did anybody tell you they love you today?
What?
No.
Right.
And it's like, oh, well, I love you. And they're like,
you don't know me. You don't know me to love me. Yes, I do.
Oh,
like you will
damn, why God know you?
The same thing that I have gone through, down the same road, through the same fights and arguments, and you will deal with.
Right. I can't wish you a good morning or have a good day.
That I love you beyond anything that you deal with, any hurt, any pain that you have, bro. I love you. Come talk to me, man. Please come talk to me. And I tell them that every day, man. And it's hard. It's absolutely hard. I know how hard it is for a kid to listen to somebody that they don't know and tell them, yo, I love you, bro. Like, come and talk to me. You want something? You want to be able to express your feelings? Come tell me how you feel today. Come tell me what's going on in your world. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard, but come and talk to me. Let's sit down. Let's try to figure out how I can help you.
We can.
I think the challenge is love. Yeah, love it's contextual, it's conceptual sometimes. Like, so you've heard it, love is an action word.
Right.
So a lot of times by the time you come, and it is making a difference. I'm hopeful that y'all continue doing that.
Right.
But a lot of times there's so much noise around these young people's heads where they're just like, they hear love and then they see what it looked like when somebody who said they love you and what they end up doing to you in some instances. So when this complete stranger comes, by the time you say that to them, there's already something in their minds that's convincing that they're unworthy of that thing that you're talking about, that love thing. But you are planting a seed because some strange person came to me and asked me if somebody said, do somebody tell me they love me? And then they told me that they love me. That right there, we don't know when that seed is going to take root and plant, but you planted something and they needed it in that moment. Guaranteed. I believe that.
Patience.
Mm-hmm.
Patience leads everybody to success. You feel me? If you're willing to be patient, you will have everything that you want. But if you in a rush, this microwave society where they need everything now, you're not going to find it that way. But I'm telling you, if you're just patient and you stick,
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right. It's going to school. You don't graduate as soon as you walk into school. You got to go through a couple of years. You know what I mean? So deal with it. You're going to deal with disappointment. You're going to deal with pain. You're going to deal with hurt. You're going to be upset. You're going to be mad. You're going to get screwed over a couple times. Somebody going to take you for weak and try you. You feel me? These are all parts of life. Mm-hmm. But if they understand love, they're like, man, I ain't worried about that. I can get it back.
Yes.
Right.
I'm not gonna pick up no gun and go shoot him because he took my girl. There's tons of other females out here. I'm not gonna pick up no gun and go shoot him because he robbed me. I can go make some more money tomorrow. You feel me? But they always think like, no, he took it from me. He gotta pay. He gotta suffer. You gotta take care of him, bro.
I gotta get him back. Like what?
Yeah, or the words. adults. Like I'm not just going to let nobody say whatever they want to say to me.
Oh my God, the words is what kill me the most.
You got too much to lose, right? And that's the thing. They don't see that they have so much that they can lose. Yeah. And I'm like, are you willing to throw your life away over words?
Listen,
over words. And it's the same for adults, right?
You gonna get put on a t-shirt for a speech?
Listen, I see it every day working with these kids every day. Well, Mr. Regan, I'm like, yo, let me explain something to you, right? I said,
you said something about my mama.
I said, if this is how you feel now, right, that they said something to you in the classroom, I said, imagine when you become an adult like me and you have to drive. I said, you never know what anybody's going through that day. And I find that the best way to actually reach the youth is when they are revved up. That's the best way to instill that love, because they're so raw with emotion that in that moment that they're open to be angry, and anger and love are, for me, from my perception, anger and love are like right next to each other. They're right there, because you can be angry and be ferocious, but you can love and touch millions.
Nicely said.
You can end the civilization being angry, but you can save and grow the same civilization with love. Yeah. So when I see, and that's, it took me half the school year, not even half, but it took me a couple months into the school year just sitting and observing. When they're upset like that and their heart is beating like a hummingbird's wings, moving like a hummingbird's wings, that's the one time I'm like, all right, you know what? I ain't even going to preach at you. I'm going to walk with you, though. Is it cool? I'm going to just walk with you. I'm going to walk with you. And you know what I mean? When they start chilling, I'm like, all right, here, let's sit down for a second. What's up? Well, they said this, they said that. I said, okay, and how did that make you feel? Because the last thing a child wants is an adult waving their finger at them.
Come on.
You did this. You did that. You're wrong here. I said, you're still a person. You still need to be heard. Your emotions are valid. I said, I'm not trying to invalidate anything you did. I said, I'm not going to tell you what you should and what you shouldn't do. I said, what I am going to ask you, though, is, did you think about the long-term effects? I always quote Isaac Newton, and I do it to my daughter all the time. His third law of physics: for every action, there is a greater or equal reaction. I said, you think that only applies to physics? I said, but what do you think? I said, but what do you think goes on in your body when an emotion is evoked? Your mind's first thing is physics. Okay, well, this happened. Now my medulla oblongata is irritated, so now I'm going to be impulsive. I said, trying to teach a child impulse control is like trying to teach a blind man how to drive in reverse. It's not going to work. Wow. I said, your hormones are still going the way that they're going. I said, you're still going to be, I said, you're a sponge. I said, just like you're learning this, I said, you're not learning that. I said, so when I tell you you're a child and you know nothing, I said, that's for you to actually pay attention to what I'm saying to you. I said, because the reaction I'm about to get from you is you're about to want to talk. I said, and in that moment when you're angry, some things you say, you may answer your own question. Said, so when you start snapping like that, I said, I'll just let you say what you need to say, and then I will verbatim quote what you just said and tie it into what I'm trying to kick to you. By the end of the school year, a lot of the students that were having issues are no longer having issues. So that's the way that we can actually sell wealth in the community. Mental health. Black men's mental health could really save the community. Black men's mental health could really save the community. If we went and we were like, yo, go get help. My guy, go get help. Tell your man to go get help. If you can tell them, yo, I see a therapist. Why you see a therapist? Well, because just like you, I'll be ready to snap somebody's neck, but I got a lot to lose. What would you want?
I go talk to somebody about it.
Right. How would you feel if the cop
therapy
and slammed Mr. Regan on his neck because he snapped? Now they're taking me to jail. Oh, we would be sad. So how you think the people in your community or your mom and dad will feel because you wanted to be impulsive and he said something to you and now you're getting carried to the jailhouse. I said, and guess what? They're giving 10-year-olds life sentences like they're grown men. I said, what you think at 14 years old they're going to do to you? You not built like that. You're not ready for that. I said, you know how I know you're not built like that? Because you letting words, really minute words that mean nothing at all, trigger you. I said, once you let somebody get in your kitchen, you're a
They got
marionette now. Now they control you. I said, do you like being told what to do? No, I said, well, when somebody gets you upset, guess what? And you act like that, they telling you what to do.
Every day, every hour of every day. And that decision-making center of the brain is not hardened until they're 25. So all of these lessons is getting input into their brain so that will harden if they continue with that type of like influence throughout until that part is like solidified. But what you said, like say it from the mountaintops, mental health, emotional health, spiritual health. That is where we like Black people have been resilient for centuries. We've learned how
forever.
to you understand what I'm saying? We've learned how to keep it pushing, never
Right.
let them see you sweat,
Right.
Black girl magic, strong Black woman, all of that
Right.
stuff.
Right.
And
We know how to
years
take
and
a hit and
years,
keep going.
right? But that resiliency, when stuff ain't lightening up, the oppression is still happening. All of the things are still happening. We still being resilient through all of that stuff. It takes its toll. So mental health care, emotional health care, we have to, and it's not just 100% agree with what you said. Therapy every week. I speak with my therapist every single week. It is to help us get out of our heads. Get out of here, say it out loud so we can hear it and have somebody else do what you're doing with the young people and say, okay, well, let's think about it this way. Well, let's consider it from that angle. Well, tell me why you thought that. Why did you jump to that from there? It's really to support us in that space. It's new-ish for us because we've shunned it for so many years. We've needed it for that same number of years. But now that it's starting to be something that's more spoken about, I feel like along with all of these important conversations, we got to stir that in because yes, let's stick together. Yes, let's teach our kids about all the important things. And we got to take care of that internal. We got to take care of that internal.
It starts at home.
Hmm.
It starts
It
at
does.
home.
It does. And it's
Definitely
fortified in the
does.
community.
And it
It
absolutely
takes a village to raise a kid.
It definitely does.
that village. The
Can't do
sad
it by
part is
yourself.
that village is often replaced by don't hit my kid. Don't not saying that I
Facts.
want to hit
That,
my kid,
but that's hereditary
don't discipline my
safety.
kid.
Right, that's
Yeah.
hereditary though. That was passed down from mom to mom to mom to mom. It gets worse. Like with evolution, we evolve. You know, after every, I guess it's after every third mother. So after every 3 generations, you evolve. And if those 3 mothers have trauma inside of their life, that trauma is going to evolve with the kid. Right,
Yes.
the kid is born. I think it's a study out that said Black children are born with all the things that I feel inside of me are going into a baby right now. So when they crying, when they get upset, when they hear loud noises and they jump, right, they're scared. You know what I mean? And if we don't understand that, and we're not talking to a therapist, and we're not talking about how we handle our issues and how we handle our fear and how we handle life, then we don't know what we're doing. And I had a conversation with my brother the other day. He was like, you know, there are manuals to understand, right? We have
Come on.
We got the Bible and we got the Quran, right? Read one of those books. You don't have. I'm not going to tell you which one to pick, but put your faith in something greater than you, right? Put your faith in something greater than you and believe in it, and just put that energy where it's supposed to be, and everything else will work itself out. And then go talk to a therapist. I went to therapy. Without my therapist, the radio station wouldn't be here. He told me I was 16 years old. I was 36. He said, what you want to be when you grow up? I said, what you mean? He said, you're 16 years old. The way you act is as a child. The way you behave is as a child. The way you talk is as a child. Everything that you're doing is childlike. So you need to grow up right now. So what you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be a broadcast journalist. He said, all right, go start an internet radio station and get out my face. Leave my $50 on the table. Like,
leave my $50 on the
table. And
no, not the $50.
I was shocked, but you know, I took all that and I said, you know what, I got to do this, and I recommend therapy to everybody because it unlocked that door that was closed. You know what I mean? And it opened up a whole new world for me, and I'm running in that thing right now, right, with no problems, with no regrets about what I used to do or who I used to hang out with. If I don't hang out with them anymore, that's because they decided to fall off. I didn't push them away. You know what I mean? So it's life, man. You got to deal with that. But therapy is definitely key, man.
Man, I've been to therapy for like 2-3 years straight. It was beautiful.
Right.
It helped out a lot.
But you got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
You got to let them know who you really are.
Right. Right. Because if you don't tell them who you really are, then it's not going to work. I got
Not at
friends
all.
and cousins that go to therapy. It don't work. I said, because you're not telling them the truth. You still want to play around in the bar and play around with this chick. And, man, go in there and tell them you a cheater, bro. Go in there and tell
Right.
them why you cheat. Go in there and tell them that you were hurt. Go in there and cry.
You ain't gonna tell me. At least tell him.
Go in there, let your feelings out. He don't know you from a can of paint. What you think, you gonna run around with all your secrets and tell everybody? Oh, yeah,
He's literally paid to not judge you.
Right. He could be sued. They could be sued for that.
right.
Right. Man.
So, I just say go. If you do go to therapy, just tell the truth, right? Everything that you're dealing with, the way you respond, the way you react, everything is told by your past. We're living off past hurt. You know what I mean? If you're a female and you're out there and you can't figure out why you always yelling at your boyfriend, well, go talk to a therapist about that. Like, why don't I know how to talk? Why can I not have a conversation with him? Why does he keep on saying I'm always yelling at him? If you're a boyfriend and you can't stop cheating on your girlfriend, go talk to your therapist.
You'll never get over it if you don't talk about it.
You feel me? Like, that was my thing. I didn't want to feel the pain of someone leaving me. You feel me? So it was on to the next. It was on to the next. It was on to the next. You feel me? So I get it. I understand it. I don't feel that pain anymore, though.
Well, I am speechless. You all, I didn't even get a chance to write down. There were so many one-liners and things that were just said in the last few minutes. But the healing part and being willing to do the work, right? Because I think that that's the struggle, is that a lot of the times we don't want to do the work. It's too painful. Mm-hmm. It's too overwhelming. It's too much of a challenge. It makes us face things that we don't want to face. So we become hardened, and then that spills out into everything else that we do, right? So doing the work and actually being able to work on your mental health, your physical health, health is wealth. If we're talking about, financial wellness, but that you can't even tackle a lot of that stuff until you dig within and see, what is really ailing you. And it spills over into all your relationships. So we are getting ready to wrap up. We are a little bit over time. There's probably a part B, part C, part D that we could do here, because you can see that you're surrounded by some change agents, right? Some people who actually are willing to put in the work, some people that are willing to have healthy conversations and dialogue about the things that are going on in our communities, and how we can impact others, right? It sounds as if everybody's doing their own small part to make their community better. So I can't thank you all enough for being on the show. And I definitely will be reaching out to you again, because I don't even want this to stop. It's just so happens that we're out of time. But go around the horn and just tell people, if they wanted to contact you, what is the best way to find you? You could give your socials, your email, whatever the best way is. If somebody wanted to pick your brain or talk to you about what they heard here today, because all of y'all dropped some bombs when it came to solutions. We didn't have a gripe session. We didn't complain about our people. We didn't do any of that stuff. We identified a problem and talked about solutions to make things better. So go around the horn and tell the people how they can get a hold of you.
It must be in the blood, because if y'all look in the chat section, I already put my IG in there. Y'all can reach me at my IG, the _unapologetic_ Mike, MIKE check. So if anybody ever wanted to come on and they had something they wanted to talk about, I'll let you boy. Okay, bet. I really enjoyed this. Letha, I really appreciate you for reaching out to me and thinking of me for this one, because Shauna and I have been talking about so many different things just in the past. And, you got to plug your wife. So my wife is a DEI manager at a law firm in 40 Under 40 Aldea. She's a phenomenal woman. I wouldn't be... I'm already
half of what you are without
half of what
I
am.
It's a blessing.
It would be half. Like, I was already lit, but now I'm like, with her, I'm
You turned up.
Right. Letha called us a power couple before when we first started dating. So she saw something in us, and honestly I think it was just how radiant my wife is, because I was down bad when she said that. So
It's
once I,
always been you. It's always
so
been you.
it's, yeah, so I had to, I had to plug her. If y'all need some art, her IG is DRAWN, the number 2 paint. Check her out. She is like, she's a professional. Like, she went to college for it, so she really does this. She's her. But yeah, that my IG's in there, and I really appreciate everybody's standpoint, everybody's point of view, because this is what we need. Like, if my daughter wasn't so curious, just constantly going like this, I'm gonna have her watch this anyway, because I want her to know, like, older people aren't just here to say, y'all get on our nerves, or this, that, and the third. Now we here to let you know, like, we got to leave this world to you guys. So
Yeah.
those of us that really give a damn are actually sitting and having these conversations, because we are going to change things, but it takes stuff like this happening. It takes small steps. Rome was not built in a day, but Rome also burned. So I don't even like to use that comparison anymore.
Right.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
it took 200. It's taken. We are 250 years behind some other races. So I don't expect it to take 250 years, but I know that the change is not going to happen overnight. But these dialogues, these instances, it couldn't have come at a better time, with Hip Hop 50, as well as the Alabama situation. This provided the show topic and the platform. So, Dr. Akua, thank you for that, Mike. Dr. Akua, how can the people get a hold of you? I see your website, but for those who might have to squint, just repeat it and how they can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. Thank you as well for inviting me to this conversation. I really learned from all of you and appreciated being in dialogue with you all. I love that we are all doing our piece. And so, for all of the Black women in your lives, your sisters, your mamas, your cousins, your wives, send them to determinatelyready.com. I've got a 3-day wellness challenge where I'm helping Black women be equipped with the tools to secure that wellness, to start off with some strategies that they build, coached by me, so that they can maintain as they go out into all of these different spaces and places where they not coming for us, they not checking for us, but we got to build ourselves up. So bring yourself, or send your sisters, like I said, your cousins, your wives, your mamas to determinatelyready.com. Thank you again, Letha. This was super dope.
Oh, my pleasure. You just dropped the mic on us real quick. I probably should have wound that up. But for Mr. DC Church, how can people reach you if they wanted to pick your brain a little?
Already followed him.
Yeah, man. If you need to pick my brain, I uploaded in the chat like Mike. My Instagram is I'm locked up, as in hair, not chains. No, we don't do that.
I was
Under
like,
it's
oh.
yeah. No, it's I'm like I period M underscore LOCD underscore U period P. And you
Okay.
can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, find my link tree. If you need me on Facebook, it's DC Church. Find me, pick my brain. I'm always open to talking with anybody.
I love it. And I love that connections are already being formed while we're on the show. Where you all are connecting, you're following each other. That's really what this is all about. The community forms this way, right? Where you might see somebody on here that you could relate to, somebody on here that thinks like you, or said something that you said to yourself, like, dang, that's a sharp brother. Like, JP and Mike and DC Church, as I said before, it's normally a women dominated show, because women are the truth, but having the strong male influence on here, and there's a camaraderie and brotherhood and chemistry that I just witnessed. So I'm overjoyed that this show could bring some change agents together. Mr. John Pierre Bryce, how can the people get a hold of you?
Well, everybody already knows how to find me, but CMPJP on Facebook, Uncle P underscore motivator. That's motivate, the number 8R. Um, I, I believe we are a team, right? And sometimes, sometimes you got to be the center. Sometimes you got to be Michael Jordan, right? Sometimes you got to be Magic. Sometimes you got to be Kobe, right? But if you're willing to be on a team with your significant other, bro, you play whatever role you have to play. You know what I mean? If you got to come off the bench, you got to come off the bench. It's just that simple, right? You shouldn't
Listen,
have a
I'll be Lou
problem.
Williams.
Right, right, right. I don't have a problem with playing any role that I need to play. But at the end of the day, we have to show our children, right, how special they are. There's a lot of pain that goes into this skin and into this melanin. A lot of pain, and if we go back too far, we'll forget why we went back that far. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because we'll get to the point where we were happy,
Mhm.
where we were doing what we wanted to do. So I think now we just need to focus on the now and today, and make sure our children understand how special they are and that their gifts are right in front of them. And they just have to open their eyes. But you got to give them hope. So you got to give them love, right? You can't
Right.
hope for anything without love. You know what I mean? So,
Amen.
yeah, man, I'm excited.
It's like you said earlier. There's a manual for that. There you got the Bible and the Quran. My
Right,
mom
right,
even
right.
told me the Bible stands for basic instructions before leaving Earth.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
that one.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I always go back to, Jesus Christ wasn't worshiping himself. You know what I mean? So
Right.
if you're a Christian, then you just need to live like Jesus did. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's what a Christian is, right? Jesus Christ, he was a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So then you got to go back to the Torah. You know what I mean? Like all three of
right.
those books were put here for a reason. We're not saying one is right and one is wrong. Just accept all three of them and allow people to have whatever faith they want to have. And then we can
Right.
get so many other things done. They put religion to divide us up. And like I said, when we're divided, the weak are exposed. You feel me? And
Yeah.
and the
But
tigers come
when
in
we
and
come
feast on us.
together, we are unstoppable.
Come on
Unstoppable.
now. That's it. So he just closed us out. He too is a mic dropper. So you often let him give the benediction. If you were if you were doing a church service.
Where the
Um,
refreshments.
Right.
He gonna close you out and leave you with some knowledge and some love and some wisdom. He's one of the most positive people that I could possibly watch on social media, where he's just constantly telling people, I love you, I'm grateful,
Right.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And he's saying this to all the 11,000 people that follow him. But that concludes this episode of Your Money Matters Financial Empowerment Show. I could not have asked for a better dialogue and discussion amongst brethren. So, and sistren. But all jokes aside, join us next week, where we will be talking about the millionaire mindset and the importance of leverage income. All right. So I bid you a good night, and good night to the panelists. And we'll see you next week.
Cheers.
CMPRadio.net. It's the station. Listen, man, let's cultivate together. Bring us all your show ideas. Content creators, we're looking for that. Videographers, we're looking for that.